The thing you were talking about at the start is called progressive music. Maybe too much for your verse, chorus, bridge, etc. casual music structure brains, but there are people who actually listen to prog and classical music that doesn't have just 2 to 3 parts repeating themselves for 5 minutes.
Not only is this the most fart-sniffing, pretentious nonsense I've ever heard in my entire life, and completely wrong, it's also a very destructive and self-sabotaging mindset for songwriters. And I'm gonna tell you why. The part to which he is referring in the video is when I'm talking about through composing, which is when nothing ever repeats, when the song structure is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, etc. on into infinity and boredom. But if I interpret what he's saying exactly literally, it's actually technically correct and the way that I approach songwriting. How does that make any sense? I'm gonna tell you. But first I wanna talk about song structure and why this kind of a mindset will actually keep you from finishing songs. I think anyone should enjoy any kind of music that they like for whatever reason you want. Life is just too short. But here on this channel, it's my job to help you write better songs. And this mindset is not how you're gonna do that. This is how you write meaningless garbage. There's a real practicality that is missing when you think about writing a song like this, because there's no ending to a through composed structure. It just stops. You just stop the song. There's no logical conclusion to how the song will end. What you're gonna wind up with is something that has no story to it, no through line, no meaning. It's gonna be scope creep the musical. Scope creep is when the scope of any project continues to expand, and it goes far beyond the boundaries of what the initial idea was. If you just keep doing that, what winds up happening is you never finish anything, you never complete a song, you never put anything out. And this is what happens when you aren't using thematic development in your songwriting. Forget about pop song structures, okay? Forget about the verse, chorus, bridge thing. Both prog and classical music, like he references in this comment, use meaningful thematic development and repetition because it's good composition and storytelling, and that's how good songwriting is, even in longer, less repetitive types of structures. In the video that this comment was left on, I'm breaking down a song that I wrote that has a very unconventional song structure. But it isn't just nonsense. It isn't through compose, it isn't A, B, C, D, E. But, and here's where this guy is technically correct, the worst kind of correct to be, nothing ever repeats exactly. And this is why you need development. Every single chorus shouldn't be exactly the same. If you're actually copy pasting and leaving it, that's a different kind of awful. My third chorus in a song is never the same as the first. If they're always exactly the same, then the song doesn't feel like it's moving forward. This is the part that so much modern prog is missing. They're able to create amazing sounding, great parts, single parts that are built out very vertically, and then rather than developing those throughout the course of the composition, they just make another different one and slap it onto the end, and then make another, build another one vertically and slap it onto the end. And of course we wind up with all these amazing 15-second Instagram clips of these parts and people ripping on their instrument, whatever it is, and you're like, oh, this is amazing. You hear the final song, the full thing, and it just doesn't stand up. It's not a song, it's not a composition, it's just 20 of these 15-second clips slapped together. That is absolutely not what progressive means. There's no progress being made. Good progressive song structure is just extended storytelling. It's a deeper and more detailed exploration of a plot, but it still has to have a plot. I started reading the Wheel of Time series when I was in 6th grade, and 15 books and 12,000 pages later, I finished what I still consider to be one of the greatest stories ever told. But all of those thousands of pages were adding to the story and helping to build towards this immensely emotional climax, not just more words and wasted ink. Dream Theater songs still have choruses, big, awesome choruses. There might be 4 choruses in a 15-minute song. When they get back to them, it felt like they were leading us there the whole time. And then when we arrive, everything that we went through made sense. The roller coaster dips and drops and rises and falls. All of it adds to the complete journey, not just you f***ing ran out of ideas. The absolute last thing that I want when somebody hears my song to feel is disappointment at the end. It's like, okay, I'm done. This comment and this mindset makes it seem like there is a spectrum from formulaic, basic pop song structures and then prog over here. And that is absolutely not the case. The spectrum isn't from pop to prog. There's pop, and there's prog, and then somewhere off in the distance, there's through composed riff salad nonsense garbage that's created out of pure ignorance and an absolute lack of craft. You have witnessed me analyze thousands and thousands of amateur compositions. Okay, you've seen me do it. The videos are all here on the channel. But what I get sent isn't like a variety of really neat, meaningful song structures that take me on a cool journey. It's basically like some formulaic pop style song structures, or it's complete nonsense. It's not much in between here. Your average pop song structure, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, chorus, is highly effective and it works for a really good reason, but that's not why you do it. You don't default to this just because it's functional and it works. It's because of storytelling. It's a solid storytelling structure, like a 3-act movie. It exists for a reason. You want to understand why it works the way that it does so that you can take that and move beyond it and create something a little bit different and bigger and more interesting. But that's not what most people do. And I know because I get sent this stuff all day long. Most of the through composed stuff that I get is just riff salad nonsense born out of ignorance and not this incredibly intentional thing like Cretaceous Chasm by Blotted Science, which you can watch this video right here and see why that's a little bit of genius and once again, very, very intentional. The other name that I have for riff salad is the local band song structure. It's like the keyboard player wrote a part, the guitar player wrote 5 riffs, the bass player wrote a riff, and if they don't use his riff in the song, he's gonna quit the band. And then the drummer's like, oh, I picked up my guitar, I wrote a thing too. And instead of considering the journey of the listener, they just slapped all of the parts together with really bad transitions in between them. Or increasingly over the last like 15 years, we get the bedroom guitar player who might have some extreme skill, even some amazing technique, great at writing riffs and parts, and then just takes all of the riffs that they wrote and put them in a row and slapped them together with some easy drummer and ta. And probably the worst part of all of this is that it's almost the wrong conversation entirely. We need to understand narrative structure and that it applies in music. This is like thousands and thousands of years of storytelling since people were writing on the walls of caves. The fact is that good narrative structure is universal, not just in music. As a society, for thousands of years, we were developing this idea and getting better and better at it, standing on the shoulders of giants and creating wonders, and now it feels like this knowledge is going to be lost. But if I have to sit here and scream until I am blue in the face, it will not be so. So what's the solution? Is it just a binary choice between verse, chorus, verse, and through composed nonsense? Obviously not. The solution is understanding that it's about meaningful development of your core musical characters and themes. And it's something that can be as simple as changing the ADSR on your synth patch like they do in EDM, or something as deep as having a multi-part variation of your motif and build to a huge climax so that it actually feels concluded. But by far, the biggest problem with through composing mindset is a practical one. If you go into writing with this mindset, you're never gonna finish anything. And even worse than that, if you do, the return is gonna be so much lower because the amount of work that you put into finishing a through composition and then it comes out and it's meaningless and you see the glaze in your friend's eyes as you show them the song. 15 minutes with no repetition. But this part's in 7/8, bro, and then the next one's 15. Nobody cares. That's not what makes it great. So when you're finishing your songs, ask yourself this. Did the song end where it was supposed to end, or did you just run out of ideas? I can hear it when you just ran out of ideas because there was no conclusion to be had. You just fell off the end of the page. Over here, your basic verse, chorus, verse pop structure, that's just lazy. But if you find that you're not finishing your songs, you should just do this until you have a much better idea of what your music needs and an understanding of this narrative meaningful development structure. This is like a shortcut. Pop song structure works because it has a built-in narrative format. And if you just add development, like even just real basic development of a verse, chorus, verse song structure is 100 times more meaningful than a through composed prog nightmare. So I basically stopped listening to all new prog music because I have just been consistently disappointed. When I start a song and I look at how long the song is, I don't trust them to deliver a meaningful, enjoyable composition. I don't experience that with bands like Dream Theater or Transatlantic. If you have not listened to Transatlantic, then you might not have any idea what I'm talking about. But when I start a 20-minute Transatlantic song, I know that by the time I get to the end, I'm gonna be feeling it. You can absolutely make a massive, sweeping, epic masterpiece without losing its core identity, as long as you don't lose the plot. But I can tell you that unless you are seriously doing your homework, that's probably not what's gonna happen. This year on the channel, I'm gonna be going really hard on helping you finish your songs. Lately, I've been doing a ton of consulting sessions with you guys. You have told me the biggest problem that you have, and for basically everyone, it's finishing songs. And I think a really big part of it is song structure stuff. It's something that I cover in my songwriting courses like Complete Rock and Metal Songwriting, but I'm gonna be going a little bit more in depth on it in a future course. So I wanna know what kind of things you guys wanna know about song structure, about finishing songs, about scope creep, all this kind of stuff. Leave me comments down below and let me know what it is you think I should include in there. I'll also throw a link in the description for if you want to get notified when that course drops. But I thought that this would be a really great basic place to start, because not only has this mindset absolutely ruined modern prog as far as I'm concerned, but it has also made it really difficult for people to have success in the music industry because they can't even get past step one, which is to have finished, completed songs. Remember that every song and every piece of art doesn't have to be everything. Part of what makes something what it is what it isn't. Stay squishy, death to riff salad, and I'll see you real soon.